America's forgotten apocalypse that turned boom to dust. Imagine waking up, and the sky is black at noon, not a cloud in the sky. Just a solid wall of dirt roaring toward you at 60 miles an hour. You can't see your hand in front of your face. You can't breathe without tasting soil. Your kids are screaming. Your animals are suffocating. In a single afternoon, everything you spent a lifetime building simply blows away. This wasn't a movie. This was the Dust Bowl, the worst man-made environmental disaster in American history. In the 1920s, the Great Plains were paradise. World War I had driven wheat prices through the roof. The government was practically giving land away. Millions of families poured into Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, and New Mexico. They ripped up the ancient buffalo grass that had held the soil in place for thousands of years and replaced it with endless seas of golden wheat. Tractors roared day and night. Towns boomed. Banks handed out loans like candy. Everyone called it the Great Plow-Up. It felt like the American dream on steroids. Then came 1929. The stock market crashed. Wheat dropped from $2 a bushel to 30 cents. Farmers did the only thing they knew: plow more, plant more, pray harder. They stripped the land bare right as the rain stopped coming. 1930 turned into the driest year anyone could remember. 1931 was worse. By 1932, the topsoil was powder. All it took was wind. The first big storms hit in 1933. People started calling them black blizzards. One storm in May 1930 picked up 350 million tons of dirt and dumped it on Chicago, New York, even Washington, D.C. Dust fell on the White House lawn while President Roosevelt was giving a speech. He looked up and said, "This is getting serious, but nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to April 14, 1935. They call it Black Sunday. It started as a beautiful spring morning across the Oklahoma Panhandle. People were in church, kids were playing outside, farmers were fixing fences. Then someone saw it on the horizon, a black mountain rolling toward them 2 miles high, moving faster than a train. Birds flew ahead of it in terror. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in minutes at 4 o'clock p.m. The sun vanished in Pampa, Texas. A man stepped outside and said it felt like the end of the world. In Kansas, static electricity and the dust made barbed wire fences glow blue and spark. Cars stalled because dust clogged the engines. People who got caught outside were blinded and suffocated within minutes. One little girl in Oklahoma thought it was midnight and went to bed. She didn't wake up until the next morning, when her father dug the family out of 6 feet of drifted soil that had buried their front door. That single storm convinced hundreds of thousands of families they had no future on the plains. They became the Okies. They loaded everything they owned into broken-down cars and headed west on Route 66, looking for the California dream. Most found barbed wire and signs that read, "No Okies allowed." 7,000 people died directly from dust pneumonia and related illnesses. Hundreds of thousands more died slowly from hunger, heartbreak, and despair. 100 million acres of farmland, an area the size of California, turned into desert. Ghost towns still stand today where thriving communities once existed. The government finally woke up. FDR created the Soil Conservation Service. Farmers learned to plant trees as windbreaks, to plow along the contours of the land instead of straight lines, to leave crop stubble instead of exposing bare soil. They planted 220 million trees in shelter belts that still stretch across the plains. Rain came back in 1939. The storm stopped, but the scars never went away. The Dust Bowl wasn't just bad weather. It was greed, ignorance, and hubris colliding with nature at the worst possible moment. And here to remind us that when we break the land eventually breaks us back. We like to think it can't happen again, but parts of the Ogallala Aquifer are drying up. Parts of the plains are seeing the same kind of intensive farming that started it all. Climate scientists say another Dust Bowl is possible, maybe even likely, if we keep pushing the land past its limits. So the next time you see a perfect field of wheat stretching to the horizon, remember, under that golden glow is a thin layer of soil that took nature 10,000 years to build, and it can all blow away in a single afternoon. That's the real story of how America's breadbasket turned to dust. Thanks for watching Boom to Dust. If this one hit you hard, drop a like, leave a comment with the disaster you want next, and subscribe so we can keep telling the stories most channels are afraid to touch. See you in the next one before it all blows away.